thoughts on Dungeon Architect?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So I do follow Mike from Games from Scratch. He's one of my favorite YouTubers related to game development because he just goes over stuff that's available. And Dungeon Architect is for Unity and Unreal, and it's a plugin. In fact, I think you can get it for a really cheap price right now on the Unity bundle, and the Unreal people, I think it's like half price.
Okay, so it's actually on sale?
It is. It's half price. It's usually like $300 something on the Unreal Marketplace, and it's like 150, 160.
Ooh, yes, keep that up.
What Dungeon Architect is it allows you to create not procedural dungeons, but create your dungeons using just nodes. So you could put, like, let's say you're making a classic castle dungeon with stones. You can, build, here's your nodes, this is what the walls will be, this is what the rooms will be decorated like, and then you just start putting the nodes down, and it builds the dungeon for you, and it can be multiple layers, but it doesn't have to be like a stone dungeon. You can create something in the outside. So you could have, like, trees, cliffs, put a skybox in there, and you're building like your forest / cliff / mountain dungeon. I have not bought it because $160 is a lot even when it's on sale, but I want to, and I want to pull it into Unreal, and I want to play with it. But just watching the Games from Scratch video and then kind of reading up on it from the Unreal Marketplace, I do recommend Dungeon Architect, especially if you can afford it.
Yeah.
I mean, anything you can use to make your level design easier, I'm down.
Oh yeah,
I'm down.
Absolutely.
I'm down.
We got another question. This is from Black Rose.
Okay.
What type of story quests work best for a JRPG?
let me start that by saying what doesn't work. Don't do fetch quests. Unless you put a twist on them.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give my answer and then you can give yours.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say if you're going to make a JRPG, all of your story quests have to either further a character story, multiple character stories like a group, a town, a location, a piece of your own character or your own character's party, the world story, the bad guy story, the main story, etc., etc., etc. So a story quest for a JRPG has to move someone's story or something's story forward, whether it be a couple of steps or a whole bunch of steps, something. The reason I say that is because the quests that I have an issue with in an RPG, especially a JRPG, are the ones that feel like they're a waste of my time. Case in point, Dragon's Dogma's DLC, I guess it was, where you could get adventure board quests. And it's literally stuff like, go get me like 12 meats. And you turn in 12 meats and you get a reward. It's content filler. Didn't like it.
No, yeah, it wasn't very fun.
Okay, what about you?
Okay, well, I agree with everything you said about it. Another type of story quest, though, that Steele didn't mention is lore.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Filling in some lore.
Yes.
That is just, it's part of the world, but it's also something that you and the characters need to know. Mm-hmm. For example, what if there was a pantheon, way back when?
Okay.
And the only deity that people know about today is blah. Mm-hmm. But there was actually blue, blah, and blink.
So you got that, guys. Blah, blue, blah, and blink.
Yeah. So you learn about blue, blah, blah, and bleak.
I love this woman. I love this woman so much.
And it's important because those other ones actually completed the pantheon.
Yeah.
And gave context to Blah.
The goddess Blah.
Yeah, the god Blah.
Yeah. I like that. Your lore is really important, which, remember, guys, write all of your lore. All of it. Even the stuff the players will never see. Yeah, just like you want to do all your world building.
Yeah.
Do all of it.
All of it.
Even the stuff the players will never see because it's going to influence your game. That was a really good question. Both of those were.
Yeah, very good questions.
Very good. If anyone has any others, that's fantastic. I know that we're kind of asking you guys ad hoc, but now you all know next week to have some things ready. when we turn off the display and kind of give you that last 15-20 minutes of stuff.
Yeah.
But
relevant game dev relevant questions
or game industry, you know, like you know, what's currently happening in the game world, because if you type game industry news into Google and you go to something like The Verge or GameIndustry.biz, you're going to get all kinds of bullshit.
Lots of stuff.
It actually is the hardest. So, you know, our format for our Game Maker forums usually is almost turned off the TV. Usually is as follows. I'm a goofy bastard today. Usually is something relevant to gaming in general. Like last week we had mental health. This week we had game addictions. Then the second one is industry specific. Like last week we talked about Netflix getting into gaming, and this week it's Sony's
patent.
That crap. And then the last one is relevant to game design. So, you know, we put these topics together and we have to do research. And I'll tell you, every time we do topic 2, all we got to do is type in game industry news, and then we look at both The Verge and GameIndustry.biz. We never have to go any further because there's always hardcore bullshit happening in this industry.
Yeah, and there's always bullshit going on.
Bullshit. There is never not some crap happening in this industry. Yeah. Oh, Black Rose has another thing she'd like to talk about. Okay.
Would you do romance as a story quest too? Absolutely.
I think so.
Yeah.
There's
done well, handled properly. Romance can be a very good addition to your game.
And it doesn't have to be, because I understand the question that she's asking. Would romance tie into a story quest? So would, like, you know, you're romancing Colin in Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah.
Would you tie in story quests to that romance? And I say yes. If you can do it properly, yes, you can. Because romance doesn't have to be you compliment this person, you take this person with you, you say the things this person wants to hear whenever you're in camp, and the next thing you know, you're boffing in the tent. It doesn't have to be that.
No.
You can have it that way, but you can also help people solve their problems. You can have that person solve your problem, and we don't see enough of that one. More often than not, when you do a romance quest in a video game, especially a JRPG, you're helping them solve a problem before they can properly romance you. And that's not how real life works. That's not how romances work. People in a romance help each other.
Yeah.
So why can't you have a quest and your potential romantic partner help you out? And that builds their affinity to you just by them helping you.
Yeah.
Now you could have it be that doesn't trigger unless their affinity is high enough. You know what game I really think handles story quests for romantic partners very well?
What's that?
Persona 5.
Yeah, it does.
Persona 5, you do the different scenes with the different females, you kind of build up the relationship with them, and then at some point you go to Mementos to solve their main problem.
Yeah.
But that's not the end of it. That just is the roadblock that's stopping you from romancing them more. And I just saw what Rupert wrote.
Yeah. No, you don't approach random people and press A repeatedly. No, always make sure that the romance is not heavy-handed.
Yeah, please.
In the game, because that's a big turnoff.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, don't make the romance easily resolved, but also don't go the other way and make it the impossible romance that requires them to. And please don't have a fight. Every single time something happens, don't have them get in a fight.
Yeah, please.
If you have to resort to like the edgelord Twilight BS, not like fans of Stephanie Meyer's, I'm not trying to insult you, but like the stuff where every conversation is misunderstood and causes a fight and tension, you're not doing romance right.
Please. Yeah, you're not.
Think about it like this.
Real world people don't act like that.
Yeah, clear the table for a second away from all preconceptions as to what romance should be. Romance is a relationship that results in intimacy. People who are romantic towards each other have several assets to that. They have to deal with each other's personalities and each other's quirks. They have to deal with the good and the bad, sometimes baggage, sometimes dreams. You know, people who are in relationships have to communicate.
Communication is big.
It's key. And more games need to have that. You know, the insult, the thing that insulted me the most about all the games we played in the past 2 years is the way Dragon Quest XI handles the romance between the Luminary and whatever her name was.
Gemma.
I hated that.
I did too.
Not only were you forced to have her, but there was nothing that made that happen. And even in the director's cut, where you get to choose a person to have your relationship with, there's never a lead-in. It's just, you can assume throughout the entire story you've built this relationship with the Luminary, and now you're married to Serena, or Veronica, or Jade, or Sylvando, or whatever.
Right.
There's no push into it. It's just there almost because JRPGs need to have romances.
Yes.
While I absolutely love the way that Final Fantasy VII Remake organically handles a love triangle between Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith.
Yeah, it handled it very well.
So, let's see. If that's, KV says, if that's how your relationship is working, you might want to reevaluate your relationship.
Yep.
Yes.
Hey, Steel, I'm going to go up to you and press A repeatedly.
I might feel violated.
Oh, okay. Get off on a tangent for a second.
Yeah.
I've always hated the typical dating sim where you have to cook the guy's favorite dish, wear his favorite color, go listen to his music and stuff like that. You know, I'm like, okay, so where is he learning about me? I mean, it just seems so. Ugh.
Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons why, despite the fact that I love Trails of Cold Steel, the relationship building between Reen and his classmates and his teacher isn't handled well, because who really learns about him during those sequences? Reen's learning about everyone else. And it's like, that's not a relationship.
No.
What I loved about the sequences with Cloud, Tifa, Cloud, Aerith, Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith, Tifa, Aerith, during the course of FF7 Remake, is that Cloud would talk about himself.
Yeah.
He didn't open up completely because the guy is literally a walking mental problem, but there was humanity there.
Yeah.
And Burke brings up a really good comment that kind of slams this into a container. Good characters lead to more convincing relationships. Write your characters well.
Yeah.
Write them well. And then, boom, the relationships will come better. But follow what Teal said. Have your relationship sequences, both characters learn about each other.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so let's talk about the cooking the dinner scene, right? So you both get in there and cook a dinner.
Yeah.
You're cooking dinner. So you cook a dish and he cooks a dish, or she. Your partner. You cook a dish and your partner cooks a dish. Yeah. And then y'all sit down and eat it together with a beverage of your choice.
There you go.
That's how you handle the romantic cooking thing.
Yes, that's a very good way of doing it. There was actually an anime that we've watched, and I know people give this anime a lot of shit, but there's one scene in the first season of Sword Art Online. It's the sequence where Kirito and Azuna have dinner together at her place. That is a really good sequence because the two learn about each other.
Yes, they do.
Together.
Yeah. And
then there's a misunderstanding where Azuna thinks that Kirito is going to sleep with her, and he's not. And it kind of it shows two facets of the character. It's not just Kirito and what eventually became his harem. It was these two people learning about each other.
Yeah.
So say what you will about the rest of the series. That scene was handled very well.
Very well, I think. KB, yeah, that's the scary thing.
Yeah, people write what they know. What does these examples talk of relationships say about the makers? Yeah.
Very, very, it's very frightening.
Yeah. And Burke is correct. Write your characters before worrying about romance. Your characters should have everything written about them.
Yeah.
Start to finish, prior to worrying about whether or not they're going to be boffing someone else. This is assuming it's a romance. If your character's just a walking hormone and you're just doing a harem, embrace it. Yeah. If you want, but don't try to hide it. Don't be duplicitous.
Yeah, please.
And then make sure that your character and their romantic interests bring something to the table. Romances, relationships, everyone brings something. It's not one-sided. It should never be one-sided.
It should never be one-sided.